what did you take away from that is helping you in what you're trying to teach to the community? And personally, how has that created an ongoing effect?
Yes, in the 7 years or so I've been teaching and have had some trainings. This was, of course, it's most top of mind, but it was one of the most pivotal ones. Had the most impact, and still a week and a half, 2 weeks later, still kind of decompressing from some of the teachings, from some of the lessons and the theories that were talked about. In my particular role at the core and working with mostly corporate settings and interjecting this idea that yes, I'd like to go a little deeper than just the movements. Asking folks or kind of checking in with my students to see, are they ready? Are they willing to kind of look at this yoga practice as something that is not just the movements, not just the breath work, but maybe turning inward a little bit, a kind of an inventory, looking at maybe past wounds. Maybe there's some issues that have been, ignored or denied and stuffed for a long time. And, frankly, I have to be, I choose to be mindful of that because in some of these settings, it's going to take a while. So right. I'm just kind of planting seeds, just baby steps to see if I can take individuals through this and do so in a way that is not too overwhelming, not too intensive, but still gives them the opportunity to experience this deeper dive. And I have to figure out where, how deep that dive will go at these different locations, different groups that I work with. But the training off the mat into the world really resonated with me to take my practice with my audience as deep as I can go.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. So, what's a little bit about, if you would like to talk a little bit about your practice today on, you're fit, you're teaching yoga and wellness. How do you maintain your own mental and physical? Just describe that a little bit.
Yeah. So I have a morning ritual. Sometimes it's as short as 4 or 5 minutes. Sometimes it's maybe 18 to 20 minutes. Just depends on how that morning flows. It might be the shorter end is some prayer time with some readings that I have by my bedside, it's on my knees. If I have that longer time frame, 18 to 20 minutes, it may be more of a sadhana practice. Sadhana meaning some combination of some mantra work with some movements and a little prayer at the end. I love the concept of sustainability, and I try to embrace that. And I'm not perfect. No, this is still, progress, not perfection in this journey. Sustainability, where I have these morning sessions, these morning rituals that also sometimes might include going to the gymnasium after my own little practice at home. I try to get in maybe, long runs on Saturday. Still, there's trainings for half marathons and then doing some smaller races. So running maybe 3 days a week, maybe 4 days a week on the high side. So it's never more than 4. I have to be mindful of being a student of yoga enough to still, be effective as an instructor. So there have been times where there have been some month stretches where I find myself not being a student enough of, taking classes from some of the instructors that I admire around the area, or just showing up randomly at a place to be a student. Being really mindful that I love the concept of balance. So if I get too out of balance by just instructing all the time with these corporate groups that I have and not being a student enough or not taking enough time in the morning to, practice, develop my own practice. I love my communities. I stay connected. There's the running community, the yoga community. I'm involved in a couple other organizations, do some work with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And yeah.
Sounds like you do have a lot of, community connections and and that you thrive on people and group and service. This sounds like a big part of your life. And as you were talking about the yoga, I was thinking about if you could say, is there a favorite, I don't know, style of yoga or a particular teacher that there's something about their style that really is very restorative to you and nurturing or nourishing?
Yeah. When I first started this journey 12 years ago, I thought all yoga was fast-paced vinyasa, one breath, one movement in a studio that's, constantly regularly heated to 95 plus. And for the first 6 to 8 months, that's what I did, and I thought that's all that yoga was. And I fell in love with it, and it was embracing. It was challenging. It was. I remember there was a 30-day challenge during that particular very beginning part. I mean, a 30-day challenge came within the first 2 months of my practice, and I remember being really diligent about 30-day practice, how it transformed my digestive system. I remember very distinctly for that month of January, my whole constitution shifted. I couldn't eat big meals. I had to go literally to 5 small meals a day. Moving forward, I learned so many different styles of yoga. And for me, frankly, it just depends on the mood, the season, what, if I'm training, if there's a half marathon coming up, my knee doctor says I'm not supposed to do marathons anymore, but if there's a longer race coming up, then I will gravitate towards a yin practice. There's a couple of yin teachers in the city that I love to go to for the 2 to 3 weeks, maybe getting a class or 2 in a week prior to that race. I would really encourage folks that are listening to try a 75 or 90-minute session, whether it be slow flow or a vinyasa or some kind of ashtanga, just at the end to experience maybe a longer savasana. If you're in a 45-minute session, which I often do, those resting periods at the ends are relatively short. So if you're in a 90-minute class and you can, let go for the last 9, 10, 11 minutes, from a restoration perspective, it can be so therapeutic. So I enjoy that. So I like to occasionally look at finding a session that's with a teacher that's 75 or 90 minutes long. Here at City Yoga, I've really embraced when there's a teacher that comes in to do Jivamukti. And that's that style of just combining the movement with just a lot of core work and such. It really resonates with me. And so it kind of ebbs and flows. Maybe the season, time of the day of the week. I'm kind of an all welcoming, all inclusive yoga practitioner. So
yes, that you are. Well, and you're just a vital part of the community here and at large, and it's awesome to see the work that you're out there doing. And so if someone had an employer or needed some group privates or some type of wellness services, how would they get a hold of you?
Sure. So I'm in the community, Facebook, www.atthecoreindy.com. They can go out to look at the website. You can follow me on Facebook. There's an At the Core Indy Facebook page, as well as just my own personal page. Throughout the community, just plugging myself into Indy Holistic Hub. Some listeners might be familiar with Indy Holistic Hub, so shout out to Indy Holistic Hub, which does some great work building community around holistic practitioners within the Indianapolis and greater Central Indiana area. Can certainly call me direct. My phone number 317-755-9165. Readily make sure I respond quickly and appropriately. So I'm at different organizations, the Monumental Yoga, regular exhibitor there, and in different functions around the city, different trade shows and that type of thing. So at the Core Indy.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. And we'll include your website and contact info on the episode notes and details so people can find it there. Thanks. And I have to tag in on Monumental Yoga. You mentioned the summer solstice celebration in Indianapolis on the circle. What an amazing event. And I know you've been a part of that year after year. And, this year we're hoping, 10,000 people converge on the center of the city.
It's a Friday night, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Friday this year. And, it's going to be amazing. And I was looking recently at pictures of past years and just the power of having thousands of people come together for a community yoga class and the local wellness providers like yourself. It's a great place to network and intermingle with other teachers and community wellness providers that surely does bring a broader awareness to yoga in the community at large. So thank you for being a part of that.
Oh,
thank you for being a part of this podcast here at the Yoga Voice. And we hope to get you back here again. And in the meantime, enjoy some sunshine out there today.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you for listening to The Yoga Voice, brought to you by City Yoga, School of Yoga and Health, where we are committed to exploring how yoga inspires and transforms. Find out more at www.cityyoga.biz. That's CITYOGA.biz. Special thanks to our producer, Brian Sims, for his audio expertise.